Natalie tried desperately to open the door, but it seemed to have been locked from the outside and she couldn't open it no matter what. The figure from the bed had gotten up and was slowly approaching her, making Natalie's heart jump into her throat. She knew that it was Bryce himself. "Open the door!" she cried. "Let me out of here!" She was so anxious that she was about to tear up. Bryce, with a cold face, took hold of her shoulders from behind. "What's this?" he sneered. "You want to get away from me? Where are you going, Natalie?" Could it be that she really hated me that much? He wondered. Natalie struggled desperately in Bryce's grip. She felt her heart beat wildly. She didn't know if she was frightened or excited to see him. "Bryce, let me go! Let me go!" she cried. Natalie never gave up struggling, but Bryce just tightened his embrace. He leaned close to Natalie's neck. "Natalie," he said through gritted teeth, "quit struggling." Natalie immediately became still. She could feel the strength of the man behind her. She was nervous and couldn't relax. "Where's Liam?" she asked in a hoarse voice. Why was Bryce in the room that was meant to be Liam's? She wondered. This could only mean that I have fallen into another one of Bryce's traps. Oh, why am I so stupid? Seeing that Natalie had finally stopped struggling, Bryce seemed satisfied. He chuckled. "Don't worry," he said. "Liam is safe, and he's waiting for us. After our wedding is over, we'll take him home, okay?" As he spoke, his heart was filled with an indescribable yearning, and he felt a desire for Natalie with an intensity that he had rarely known. Natalie was moved by what Bryce had said, but she quickly dispelled the peculiar feeling in her heart. "Bryce," she said in a puzzled tone, "what are you talking about? Our wedding? What do you mean by our wedding?" Bryce pretended to look hurt. "Natalie, this is our wedding day. Aren't you happy about it?" he said, laughing. "I've been waiting for you for a long time." Natalie looked at him with an expression of disbelief. "Bryce, what did you say?" asked Natalie, looking closely at his face. This was the first time she had seen him up close in a long time. He seemed to have lost a lot of weight compared to when she last saw him, making her feel sympathetic toward him. Natalie suddenly had a strange feeling. "Can you let me go first so that I can think?" she said quickly. "I think we should try and calm down." However, Bryce just tightened his grip. A smug smile appeared on his face. "I don't want to let you go, Natalie. All those people downstairs are waiting for me to get married to you." Natalie looked at him in disbelief. "Bryce, are you crazy? What are you talking about? I saw your engagement pictures with Vivian down there just now. It's Vivian that you're marrying. What are you going to say?" She paused, searching his face, then went on. "We've broken up, you and me. We can't be together anymore. You and Vivian are about to get married. Just stop pestering me, okay?" She had to be hard-hearted. Otherwise, she was really afraid that if Bryce said something else, she would soften her heart and be reluctant to leave his side again. Bryce stared at her coldly, absorbing what she had said. "Natalie," he said coldly, "you just have to do this, okay? Why did you leave me? You are carrying my child after all. You can't escape from your destiny." Natalie's heart couldn't help but soften a bit when Bryce mentioned their child. However, she still maintained a stern face. "Bryce, I definitely have good reasons for saying that we can't be together. We can't be together, okay? If you let me go, the child will be born anyway. And Liam, please let me take him with me too." Seeing that Natalie was trying her best to draw a clear line between them, Bryce's gloomy face turned even colder. He glared at Natalie. "I'm warning you," he said. "If you dare to say another word, I can't guarantee what will happen next." His eyes made it clear that he wanted to sleep with her right now. "Bryce, calm down, won't you?" said Natalie. "It's really out of the question that we can be together again. I'm not good enough for you. I'll ruin your life. I had a child, and I don't even know who the father is. What can I do?" As Natalie said this, she couldn't help but tear up. This was probably because the grievances she had accumulated in her heart had finally found an outlet. She was very upset and confused by today's developments, and by Bryce's words and actions. Her emotions were all in an uncontrollable uproar. Once the tears began to fall, she was unable to stop them. And when Bryce saw her tears, his anger melted away in an instant. He couldn't help but frown.
"All right," he said. "Please don't cry anymore. If there's anything I can do, let's just sit down and talk about it. Why are you crying?"
He had never seen Natalie cry in such an intense manner. At this moment, he couldn't help but feel a little crazy and upset too. But the more he tried to comfort her, the more she cried, as if she was venting all the grievances and upsets she had suffered in her life.
"We have nothing to talk about," she sniffed. "Just let me go, okay?"
Bryce frowned as he looked at her.
Oh, she was so stubborn,
he thought. All of his patience suddenly evaporated as she defied him. He decided that no one could shake his resolve. He took her in his arms and embraced her tightly.
Natalie, he said almost incoherently. "What are you saying this for?"
As he finished speaking, he lowered his head and kissed her on the lips. Natalie was caught off guard. Her tears stopped flowing, and she was startled into forgetting all her sorrows. She was unable to react for a long time as Bryce kissed her. As Bryce continued to kiss her, Natalie, sensing his ardor, felt conflicted by desire.
"This isn't right, Bryce,"
she said, fighting back her own desire all the while. But Bryce just deepened his kiss. As he held her close and kissed her, their temperatures rose. Natalie, now in tune with Bryce's warmth and emotions, lost control of herself. She gradually let go of her reservations and returned the kiss instead. Even someone as calm and rational as her could not resist the suppressed emotions in her heart. In the end, she could not help but respond in obedience to her own heart. Bryce's eyes intensified as he felt Natalie's response. It was only when the pair of them couldn't even breathe properly that they reluctantly let go of each other. Lightly pressing his forehead against Natalie's, Bryce looked at Natalie's slightly flushed face with satisfaction. In the end, he couldn't help but chuckle softly.
"Natalie, you are so beautiful. Do you still deny that you love me?"
he asked. Natalie's face flushed a deeper red. Whether this was because of the passionate kissing or because she was embarrassed at being found out, it was impossible to say. She just kept silent for a moment. She felt a bit guilty because she couldn't control her emotions, but she also knew that it was useless to regret such things. Seeing that Natalie remained silent, Bryce's mood turned gloomy. He began to wonder whether she was taking him seriously at all. Thinking this, Bryce immediately picked Natalie up and carried her over to the bed. Natalie was shocked and had no choice but to put her arms around Bryce's neck for stability. "Bryce, what are you doing?" she exclaimed, but these words came out sounding soft and powerless. Her imagination was running wild. Bryce looked at Natalie and let out a chuckle.
"Your body is more honest than your speech, it seems to me. What do you think I want to do?"
As he said this, he laid Natalie gently down on the bed. Natalie was conflicted again, thinking about all the people downstairs.
"Bryce, everyone downstairs is waiting for you and Vivian to get married. What are you doing up here with me?" she exclaimed.
If people were to find out that the groom was currently making out with his ex-girlfriend upstairs, what would happen? She wondered, perplexed. Bryce seemed to have sensed Natalie's thoughts and laughed softly.
"If they want to see a wedding, they'll just have to wait. Let's go down later, okay? We have more important business to deal with first."
His seductive attitude immediately made Natalie's heart soften. She almost gave herself up to the emotions of the moment, but then thought better of it.
"Bryce, can you please just stop messing around? It's really impossible for us to be together. Don't you understand that?"
Bryce's only response was to lean down and cover her lips with another kiss. As soon as they came into contact with each other again like this, their bodies couldn't help but tremble uncontrollably. Bryce knew that he wanted more, and Natalie's nod told him that she did too. They pressed against each other, but Bryce was careful that he didn't press down on Natalie's belly, where their baby made during a previous encounter was already growing. Natalie bit softly at his lips, hungry for his kiss, and Bryce could feel that they were brimming with desire for each other. They both really wanted to be here, right now, enjoying each other's bodies. But rationality told him at last that this was probably not a good time to reacquaint themselves with each other. With this thought in mind, he gritted his teeth and forced himself to pull back.
"We want each other very much, don't we?"
he asked tenderly. Bryce's words and his recent provocations made Natalie's face turn even redder. Natalie's body had long betrayed her true feelings for Bryce, but she couldn't allow herself to do such a thing. Not here, and not now. "Bryce," she said, "we mustn't do this, as much as we both want to. What do you want to do before you let me go?" Her voice was hoarse with desire, but she forced herself to remain calm as she looked into Bryce's eyes. Bryce looked back at her intently.
"Do you know,"
he said,
"that after you left, I couldn't sleep, and I couldn't eat. I couldn't even think straight. I've never felt this way before. All of the best things in my life were given to me by you."
He paused, looking at her tenderly again before continuing.
"I only want to marry you and give you all of my life and love. No one else matters to me, and nothing else matters. So what if you've already given birth to a child? I've never minded that. Natalie, why are you still afraid of the past?"
Listening to himself, he felt that these words were insufficient to express what he was thinking. It was just that he had never felt this way about a woman before, and had never had to try and find the words to express such emotions. So he couldn't help but feel somewhat clumsy at the manner of his speech. Nevertheless, Natalie felt her heart soften as she looked at Bryce and took in what he was saying. She had seen many different aspects of Bryce, but she had never seen him be so careful in trying to please her. What right did I have to have such sincere and complete love for this man? She thought in wonder. She always chose to retreat when she met with a little trouble. She had previously thought that she had suffered a lot during their relationship, but now she could see that Bryce had suffered just as much. A feeling of guilt and gratitude welled up in her heart, making Natalie cry uncontrollably. She buried her face in Bryce's shoulder and was unable to let go of him for a long time. Bryce kissed away her tears. His actions were especially gentle and tender.